This is our first ever ANCA general membership meeting. I'm Nancy Moulter, the president of ANCA. And because we had to cancel our convention this year, it's still in our bylaws that we have a general membership meeting. So this morning or this afternoon, we decided to try to do that by Zoom. So be patient with us, and hopefully throughout the meeting, I can update you on what ANCA's doing. We can do our traditional rose ceremony of celebration, and we can install the new officers for the association. I'm going to switch now to my slides, so if everybody turns their video off, that will make it. So as we move forward in the meeting today, I'm going to start with an invocation by Colonel Retired Carol Hebner. Carol, if you want to unmic and unvideo, please join us.
Thank you, Nancy, and hello, everyone. Please join with me in prayer as we open our meeting today. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time of fellowship and business among members of the Army Nurse Corps Association. The global pandemic brought Army nurses together in a new way today. And we thank you, Lord, for the technology and expertise that makes our 2020 business meeting possible. You tell us in your word, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And we do that today as we open our meeting. We thank you for caring for Nancy during the incredible past 2 years of her term in office. And we humbly ask that you continue to guide incoming President Colonel Dawn Flynn as she begins her term in office, along with watching over all the leaders and members of ANCA. We commit the coming years into your hands. May the years be those in which we will live, learn, grow, and serve in thy presence. Be the still point and keep us safe in this turning world. Heavenly Father, as we begin our time together, we thank you for what will be accomplished today. May we start this meeting recognizing that you are the God of all wisdom, and we are your people, dedicated to caring for our nation's soldiers and their families. Bless and preserve us, Lord. In this, your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Carol. Now, if we would all, if you want to stand where you are, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I was going to recognize any past Corps chiefs that are online. I didn't see any on the participant list, but if one of you has joined us and I'm just not seeing you, if you would speak up on mic and speak up, we'd like to hear from you. Okay. I know that we have a couple of past presidents of ANCA. Of course, this year we lost the very first president of ANCA, Doris Cobb, Colonel Doris Cobb. But we have with us today Colonel Roy Harris and Colonel Peggy Combe, I believe, is with us today. And Lieutenant Colonel Amy Johnston. And let me see, do I see anybody else? Did I forget anybody? If so, speak up. Oh, Claudia Bartz. I see Colonel Claudia Bartz up there. Hi, Claudia. And I think that's all.
Isn't Jerry on?
Jerry, are you on? Jerry Graham? She may have dropped off, or I don't see her name on the list right now. People will be joining us. This is a new technology for everybody. So at the end of the meeting, when Dawn closes the meeting out, we can open up all our videos and share if people want to. Just wanted to say that the minutes of this meeting will be reviewed by the board and approved and posted on the ANCA website within about 30-40 days after the meeting. And currently there are no resolutions or motions to be approved at this year's meeting. And our officer and committee reports for the year are found on the ANCA website. So if you're interested in reading those, that's where you can find them. Just wanted to update you a bit on what was happening at ANCA. Our mission is to preserve the past, capitalize on the present, and embrace the future of ANCA and ensure its future and that of the Army Nurse Corps mission. And we do that by connecting generations of Army nurses. We base what we do in the association on our strategic plan, which is related to those that vision and goal. So I wanted to start with preserving the past. Our ANCA historian, Colonel C.J. Moore, who's with us today, has really done a yeoman's job for us in terms of making sure that our history is maintained. And also, since the Army Nurse Corps no longer has a dedicated historian, she helps a lot of people throughout the Corps, and also people, friends and relatives of families who are looking for Army nurses find connections to help them. She's developed over 92 historical factoids for our social media. I particularly enjoy those. She wrote 4 columns for The Connection this past year, and every year usually. She's answered 45 website inquiries and provided the resources for family and researchers who are searching. She's also currently researching the 21st century AN deployment activities. And on top of that, CJ has also written her own historical book about a 19th century aristocratic woman that's very, very interesting, and it's called Maria Longworth's Store. So if you're looking for that, it's a beautifully written book. We've been recognizing nurses who have reached 100 years of age. And so we try to reach out to them in the various regions, send them a birthday card, maybe an ANCA coin if we can. This year we voted for the option of free membership for ANCA members who achieve the age of 90 years young. So they have the option now to have free membership for the rest of their life. In our convention program, we made a dedicated effort to have content in the convention that will reflect our past. And when we hopefully have our convention in October of 2022, that will continue. We've provided information about interments of members. We sponsored lots of anniversary celebrations and other kinds of ANC celebrations, and put those out on our social media and on our website for people to enjoy. And we've continued this year to participate in wreaths across America for national ceremonies in conjunction with MOA. When we look at capitalizing on the present, education is one of the foundations of our association in terms of achieving its mission. So we did present the program for 2020. I think it's a great program that we've developed, and we're hoping that we can present most of it if our return speakers can join us in 2022. So stay tuned for that. By then, I think we all pray that we'll be able to once again travel and meet in person. Of course, we held our first ever virtual general membership meeting. Our bylaws require that we have a general membership meeting every 2 years in the even years. So thus we tried to make this happen this year. One of the other things we do in terms of education is we provide support for professional certification. And in the past 2 years, we've provided over $1,300 in support. I think many people aren't quite aware of this yet. We keep advertising it, but if you are trying to certify and certification expenses can become expensive, then we can help you with that. It's one of our main benefits as a member. We continue to offer a speakers bureau. We have many talented ANCA members who are willing to go out and speak on a variety of different topics. And Karen Gaussman coordinates that for us. So if people need continuing education in their area or some sort of event and would like a speaker, then we try to connect people to do that. This year we held our Bagan lecture on October 2nd, and Dr. Patricia Benham, from the director of the National Library of Medicine, was the presenter, and she did a fantastic job of helping us understand how the National Library of Medicine is working in today's realm of helping people stay connected and finding what they need as they do their research and scholarship. That lecture will be posted on the ANCA website. Also, part of the Bagan funds this year, we allocated a small portion of those funds that go to the Uniformed Services University School of Nursing to help them with faculty seed grants. So that was approved by the board. And of course, our mainstay of our program that's been in effect since the beginning of the organization is we've awarded over $90,000 in scholarships to 30 students over the past 2 years at the BSN or graduate level. And since its inception in 1987, when we started the scholarship program, we've awarded over $700,000 in scholarships due to your generosity as members. So thank you. Research is another area that we have moved forward on. And this year we awarded over $19,000 this past 2 years to members for research and evidence-based research seed grants. We have about 55 doctorally prepared members who are willing to assist people in various capacities with research advice. They also help us select the research grant awardees and the research award awardees. In 2018 at our convention, we presented our first 2 research awards, and this year we presented 2 more and to the recipients that you see on the slide. So we're really proud of how we're supporting the research that is being done by ANCA members, both active duty and those who are no longer on active duty. Speaking of awards, we have, for a number of years, sponsored the Senior Leader and the Military Practice Awards. And this year, we expanded the awards to the Reserve and the National Guard components. So we developed that program so that there are opportunities for nurses from any component in the Army Nurse Corps to receive these 2 awards. And want to thank Donna Wright, Colonel Donna Wright, for her outstanding coordination of this program. It's really been well done. Thank you, Donna. We also developed a donor recognition program that we plan to initiate at the next convention. This is for donors who donate to our Legacy Giving program. We have several ways you can donate now, and we wanted to recognize those donors. And then, of course, as I said before, we sponsor the Excellence in Research Award. One of the things on our strategic plan is to continue board competency and succession. It's always an interesting phenomenon when you're working with a volunteer organization that has absolutely no paid professional staff or any kind of paid staff. So all of our work is done by the volunteers. And so we're looking for the right skills for people, and we're looking for people to help us branch out into how we do our work. And it's always kind of a challenge, but we seem to find the right skills among our members. We continue to seek improvements in our election process and ways to identify qualified candidates and help them understand what's involved if they become a candidate for our board. We decided this year that we would have a designated election day, much like the country does. So we are going to designate the third Tuesday of June in even years as our election date. That way we can better get things ready and the ballots put together, the candidates vetted and selected and put out in time for people to vote. We hopefully in the future will be able to try to look at voting online as well as by mail, but that's down the line a bit. For the past 2 years, we've done a board evaluation to seek from the board members currently serving how they see our strengths and weaknesses as a board. And it's a totally anonymous board survey. They go on SurveyMonkey and type in answers to questions, and it's really been a big help for us to see how we can streamline our processes, make the process of being a volunteer on the board a bit easier and a bit more coordinated. Alice this year developed a volunteer, it's not a competency process, it's a policy. It's a policy to compensate board members for their volunteer time. And in conjunction with that, we decided, you know, we really don't capture how many hours our volunteers spend in helping ANCA achieve its mission and goals. So we set up a volunteer log to start capturing the amount of time that volunteers have spent. It'll also help then when people are thinking about becoming a candidate for ANCA, they know how much time that someone has spent on ANCA activities and can judge how that fits in with their lifestyle. So we continue our board orientation process and hopefully continue to improve that. As people come on the board, we usually meet the first meeting after the general membership meeting, which we're having today, and we usually do that at the convention. Now that we're not able to have in-person meetings, we're having to look at new ways to look at how to orient our new board members. So that'll be evolving this year also. And the other thing we did this past year was we began to look at we're always looking at our bylaws and standing rules, but we decided to do a full revision of them. And we just completed that last month, so the new bylaws are out there on the website. Primarily, we did that because of all the new changes related to electronic forms of meeting. Communication is important. We have members across the spectrum on how they communicate with us. We still have many members who still want to receive their connection in paper. Most members now receive it online. It's prettier online, it's all in color. We also have our website. Nikki McCaslin has continued to do a wonderful job keeping the website updated, and we're always making new improvements to that site. We integrated the Legacy Giving program into the website and hopefully made it easier to donate, and to donate in the way that you want to donate based on our new program. So it's much easier, and it's all integrated on the website now. The Connection is our newsletter, and it continues to be our key means of communication, in a way also that we communicate with the Chief of the Army Nurse Corps. So Karen Gaussman has been the Connection newsletter editor and has continued to do a great job with that. Speaking of the Army Nurse Corps, they do have their own newsletter, and we receive one page each time that newsletter comes out, which is about once a quarter. So active duty folks who can see that newsletter will see our ANCA information in that newsletter also. We're always working on our social media platforms and continuing to revise and refine them. It seems like that just blossoms yearly, and there's all different kinds of platforms. We did establish this particular year rules for posting on social media, and we're actually developing now or in the process of developing a social media plan and policy, so that as our social media presence continues to grow, we have some of the pitfalls identified and plans in place to handle those. We do need your expertise on social media. Some of those of you who were born much earlier than I was anyway, know and understand social media much more than many of us. So you've kind of grown up with it, and it's second nature to you. So if you can assist us a little with social media, please contact the president at that email and let us know. It doesn't have to be a lot of work, but we could sure use, pick your brains and use your help. Our biggest challenge is still recruitment and retention of members. We're staying somewhere between about 1,450 to 1,500 members. We haven't really gained a lot. We're staying in that ballpark. So we're looking at recruitment and retention in a big way. And Colonel Faith Youngahan is helping us with that, as did Crystal Romay. We're also working with the Corps Chief to ensure that people have ANCA members have access in the medical platforms to promote ANCA. There was a chief of staff letter out a few years ago saying that promotion by professional military nurse or professional military organizations in general is approved in the Army, and we would like to be able to do more face-to-face kinds of work with our larger medical platforms, like the medical centers or the large reserve or National Guard centers. And to that event, we initiated an ANCA ambassador program. So nurses, ANCA members who are near some of our larger platform areas in the country could be an actual ANCA ambassador, or active duty who move from platform to platform can also be a very potent ambassador for ANCA. We used to meet with the bullet course nurses and do a panel on what it's like to be an Army nurse, but due to all of the readiness issues and the transfer over to the Defense Health Agency, that time in the bullet course has been canceled. They do still give out our membership brochures, and any new BOLIC member who comes into the Army is eligible for a free year of membership if they put BOLIC on their membership application. We're exploring digital advertising, such as on some of the social media platforms. And we continue to focus on why members lapse. A lot of times it's just, even though they get 3 different notices, it comes in, it's not at the right time for you to stop and do something about it, and you tend to forget it. The last and 3rd notice that we send members, though, is in mail, and so hopefully that will help people actually have something physical in their hand besides just an email. So if you have any ideas about recruitment and retention, let us know. We're trying to put together people who can help us brainstorm this. And as I said, it's the biggest challenge we have to our organization. We do develop and maintain partnerships with other organizations such as the Air Force Nurses, Society of Air Force Nurses, and the Navy Nurse Corps Association. And of course, we maintain our partnership with MOA and Army Women's Foundation and the Women's Memorial. The Women's Memorial, the Army Women's Foundation, and OptumServe have actually been sponsors of our convention this year, and that will carry over to the next convention. One partnership that we did enter into this year was working with the Daisy Foundation, honoring nurses and the care that they give to their families and to their patients. And we were actually approached by the Navy Nurse Corps Association to sponsor Daisy Awards in some of the military facilities with us. The current director of the Daisy Foundation is a Navy Nurse Corps officer. So this year we voted to sponsor awards with the Navy at Walter Reed National Navy Medical Center. We're sponsoring our own awards at BAMC, Darnell at Fort Hood, and the MEDAC in Alaska. So we're hoping that'll go. The Daisy Awards are just very special to the recipients and truly fit our mission of excellence and care to patients and their families. So we want to continue that that liaison so that those awards continue in our military treatment facilities. We're looking at marketing under Roy Harris's term as president. We actually looked at rebranding our marketing materials and developing better and more up-to-date marketing materials for ANCA. I continue to send out messages to our members and on our social media to members and non-members on various military and federal holidays, and hopefully people will hear about us and know that we recognize nursing wherever. And occasionally we'll send out emails also, especially on those special days like Veterans Day and Nurses Week, etc. And we've developed a marketing plan that helps us integrate our message that we want to convey across all our media that we use to inform people about ANCA. Finances are important, and I'm happy to say that ANCA has been financially very conservative and is in a good financial status. This past year, I worked with a CPA on making sure that we have reports and records that will help our members understand. We have a 2-year budget, so the membership in a report that you see on this slide was for from actually 2016 to 2018. Oh, actually 18 and 19. But we try to put it out every 2 years. So this one coming up will be the 2018 to 2020 budget income report. And showing slides of how we spend our money and where those expenses go. Generally, our administration expenses are low. Our board members' expenses are low. When you see on the slide the additional expenses, that was one-time marketing update that we did and some website involvement so that we could actually streamline some of our processes on the website. So hopefully that came out in the December issue of the Connection, and hopefully this will help you better see how we're doing with all of that. And then our legacy giving program. We worked with an expert in donor programs who helped us develop our legacy giving program. And we wanted to have a way for all of you to be able to donate not only to just scholarships or just things like that we've normally had people donate to, but that there were desks that you could support the association where most needed, so that we do have the funds to try out new things and to update websites and some of that more expensive kind of thing. And of course, our research and new initiatives that we're looking at. I always put Isabel Bagan up here because she gave us quite a nice donation that helps us with the scholarships and education. And so the biggest part of it is spent in this memorial lecture. So at this time, if anybody has any questions, if you would put them into the chat, and then Dawn will read them to me as they come in. I did receive one on the email before the meeting from Beverly Cornett, and she writes, I am aware that all of those who serve are volunteers, but shouldn't ANCA have term limits for elected office? The only term limits we actually have is that a president can only serve, cannot serve more than one consecutive term. All our terms are 2 years. And we haven't changed that recently because it has been a bit of a struggle to find people who have the time to join us and volunteer at ANCA. So we're not sure that we want to put other than the 2-year terms, and then everybody has to be re-put on the ballot for elections. Any other questions, Dawn?
I don't see any in the chat, Nancy.
Okay. Well, if any of you have questions, please just send them to president@eanca.org, and it will get to the president. And we'll find the right answers to your questions for us. The next thing on our agenda is the rose ceremony for remembrance of those who have passed in the past 2 years. And I want to take a moment to recognize Lieutenant Colonel Joe Galash, who put this PowerPoint together along with some members like Amy Johnston and Robin Hightower and Carol Hebner and other people who helped us, Nikki, who helped us find the names and put the pictures together. But Joe created the slideshow and Robin narrated, and I think it's, you'll agree that it's really a fitful memory for our departed folks.
The Army Nurse Corps Association has a tradition of remembering members who have departed since our last convention. In 2020, our convention was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We want to continue this tradition through this virtual rose ceremony of remembrance. Hear the prayer of an Army nurse. Hear my prayer in silence before thee as I ask for courage each day. Grant that I be worthy of the sacred pledge of my profession and the lives of those entrusted to my care. Help me to offer hope and cheer in the hearts of men and my country, for their faith inspires me to give the world and nursing my best. Instill in me the understanding and compassion of those who led the way, for I am thankful to you for giving me this life to live. We will remember our departed members by region and year of death. Colonel Robin Hightower, Director, Region 1. We remember Lieutenant Colonel Charlotte Matthias, 2018. Colonel Lorraine Bivalak, 2019. Colonel Mary Quinn, 2020. Captain Ann Walsh Sorrigan, 2020. On behalf of Colonel LaShonda Cobbs, Director, Region 2, we remember Lieutenant Colonel Louise Whalen, 2018. Brigadier General Connie Slawitsky, 2019. Colonel Blaise Barrett, 2019. Lieutenant Colonel Harriet Laubacher, 2020. On behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Amy Johnston, Director, Region 3, we remember Colonel Sharon Ritchie, 2018. Colonel Gloria Boudreau, 2018. Colonel Harvey Dockel, 2018. Lieutenant Colonel Albert Ruman, 2018. Colonel Beth Fortner Lanou, 2019. Colonel Marietta Stanton, 2019. Captain Patricia Atkinson, 2019. Lieutenant Colonel Margaret Lotz, 2019. Colonel Terrell Miller, 2020. Captain Linda Moody, 2020. Colonel John Zisselberger, 2020. Colonel Miriam Gately, 2020. On behalf of Colonel Donna Wright, Director, Region 4, we remember Joan Hall, 2018. Second Lieutenant Ursuline Bruneman, 2018. Colonel Doris Cobb, 2019. Colonel Marion Waterhouse, 2019. First Lieutenant Francis McCaffrey, 2019. Lieutenant Colonel Patricia Fitzgerald, 2019. First Lieutenant Erlyn Ryland Sheets, 2019. Lieutenant Colonel Willa Pogornoff, 2019. Lieutenant Colonel Margaret Conley, 2019. Lieutenant Colonel Johanna Butt, 2020. Captain Joyce McGovern, 2020. Colonel George Haig, 2020. Colonel Claire McQuail, 2020. Colonel Judith Rixmeyer, 2020. Colonel Marion Walls, 2020. Lieutenant Colonel Edward Tennyson, 2020. Colonel Janie Sinclair, 2020. On behalf of Colonel Teresa Parsons, Director, Region 5, we remember Colonel James Romeo, 2019. We remember all those who've gone before us. We thank them for their service, their dedication to the nursing profession, and to the Army Nurse Corps Association. Blessings, and may they rest in peace.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Joe and Robin. And as we move into installing our new board, I want to say a few words about those who are leaving our board. And I'm going to start with Robin, Robin Hightower. Robin's a Rain graduate with over 30 years of active duty. And she's been a member of ANCA since 1993 and been active on our board as Secretary and Region 1 Director. What I think about Robin is she's insightful, she's warm and caring, she's very committed to ANCA and their goals, and she's married to Paul. Colonel Donna Wright, the Region 4 Director, is also leaving us. Donna is a native of Virginia, but she's a transplanted Texan now. And she's served 23 years in the Army after graduating from the Army's Student Nurse Program. She's been Region 4 Director for several years, coordinating many activities that have coordinated Army or connected Army nurses in our region, to include overseeing the ANCA-sponsored Nurses Awards that we give. And she also coordinated the awards that we gave at the Captain's Career Course and put together our ANCA panel when we were able to do that with the BOLIC course. She's continuing to coordinate the Senior Leader in Military Practice Awards, and memory tells me she agreed to continue to do that for a while. Donna has legendary attention to detail, and she's tireless in coordinating her local ANCA activities in the region. And Donna's also daughter to a 101-year-old mother who's more active than I am. Colonel Carol Reineck Hebner hails from Montana, but she now resides in San Antonio with her husband, Mike Hebner, who also is a retired Army officer. Carol served 30 years in the Army and received many, many awards during that time, including Army Nurse of the Year, the Anita Newcomb McGee Award. In post-Army, she went on faculty at the University of Texas Health Science Center, and also was national treasurer of the Association of Nurse Executives. Carol is also a fellow in the American Academy of Nursing. Carol was chair of our research committee and really got many things established while she was chair. She set up the ANCA Doc program and the Nursing Research Award program. And then Carol went into doing the ANCA grant management and helped work with Nikki and others on ensuring that that process is all online now and more streamlined so that we can give out our seed grants for research and evidence-based practice. When I think about Carol, I think about how funny she is. She's always looking out for the ANCA Army nurses in her community, and she's wickedly smart and organized. Lieutenant Colonel retired Amy Johnson is from Myrtle Beach, and Amy was our Region 3 director. She served in Vietnam, then took a break from the Army and returned back to reserve status and active duty in 1978 and retiring in 1995. She joined ANCA in 1995 and she served in the roles of state representative, vice president. She was ANCA president from 2012 to 2014 and then volunteered to come back to be ANCA Region 3 director. Amy's selfless in her service to ANCA. She's committed to recognizing the work done by nurses in the Vietnam era, and she's active in many veterans organizations and charities. And finally, in the middle there is our immediate past president, Colonel retired Roy Harris. Roy hails from Florida. He now resides in Ellicott, Maryland, and with his wife Sheila, who's also an ANCA member and retired Army nurse. Roy joined the Army and served in many positions throughout his career. His most memorable, though, was his deputy commander of nursing position in Lonsdale during the volatile 9/11 period of time. He's currently on faculty at Widener University. Roy served as ANCA president from 2016 to 2018 when we did a major overhaul of our marketing and many initiatives that we started those 2 years. He also was my fantastic mentor in terms of being ANCA president. Roy's very wise and very, keep hitting the wrong button here, sorry. Very wise and very compassionate. He's active in the Knights of Columbus and he's parent to 2 fur babies. I just thank you all for everything that you've done for ANCA and for the time and energy that you've put into our organization. It's truly valued and it's truly helped our organization grow. Thank you. I would like to take a few minutes to recognize our current committee chairs and advisors. The first is Colonel retired Karen Gausman. Karen has been our convention chairperson and our newsletter editor. So she's really stepped up and done a huge amount of work for us. And Karen is our new president-elect of ANCA. She's going to be a busy lady. Colonel Janet Harris is chair of our education committee and just has that process down to a T. It's online now completely, and she ensures that we choose the right scholarship recipients for all that money that we donate for scholarships. So thank you, Janet. Colonel John Scherner is our finance committee chair. He has just done a great job in ensuring that our finances are in good shape. I also would like to recognize, not pictured, Colonel Rhonda Morris. She does our financial review yearly and helps us out in that respect. We also have Assistant Treasurer, Colonel Jennifer Beddick, who serves under Kathy Swafford as treasurer, but they both serve on the Finance Committee, helping John keep all of that straight. Lieutenant Colonel retired Joe Galash is our nominating committee chair, and he's on the nominating committee again next year. Joe really put together a great list of candidates for this coming election and worked very hard at that. Also, Joe, thank you again for that very creative and wonderful rose ceremony. When we look at recruitment and retention, Colonel Crystal Romay started with us and then had to transfer over to Colonel Faith Youngahan due to work issues. But both of these ladies are very creative, have come up with some great ideas that we've been exploring, and really can use some help too in helping us continue to think about ways to recruit new members to ANCA. Colonel retired Kathy Gaylord is chair of our research committee. Kathy has continued to just do a great job in ensuring that we have the right focus on research, that research is foremost and upfront in our showcased in our conventions. So I thank you, Kathy, for all of that work. And Carol turned over the grants management program to Colonel retired Ed Yackel, who's done a great job putting it together. This was his first year for doing the grants management, and it turned out quite well. So thank you, all of you on this page. Colonel Bob Moore is our reserve component advisor. He's our second reserve component advisor. And it's really been eye-opening to have someone with all of that experience in the reserve component come onto the board and help us always to remember that we have 3 active components in the Army Nurse Corps, and they all need to be addressed. So thank you, Bob. Colonel Steve Kading has been our social media person, and he's really helped us get our various social media platforms up and going. Steve has just continually made sure that we've gotten things posted and posted in time. Thank you, Steve. Colonel Nikki McCaslin does our website and many other things that Nikki does, maintains our ANCA OneDrive, etc. Whenever we need to know something, we usually turn to Nikki because he's got probably one of the longest histories with the association currently on the board. And he's just always a wealth of information. Thank you, Nikki. And we've talked about CJ Moore, our historian, and her enthusiasm for history has just been a real plus for ANCA and all of our members, and actually the Army Nurse Corps, to tell you the truth. And finally, Colonel Mary Messersmith is our parliamentarian. She makes sure that we do it the right way, make sure we all have our beautiful book of Robert's rules, which actually, I've actually had to read a lot of it. So it was very helpful to have that book on hand. And Mary also has a long history with ANCA and is another one of our resources that we go to many, many times. We couldn't do the work that we do, and I certainly couldn't have done the work as president without all these committee chairs and advisors. So I thank you all, and all your efforts are much appreciated. For 2020, 2022, these are the elections of our nominating committee members. 3 of them served on this current nominating committee and did a fantastic job. 2 are on active duty, and we have them from all of the walks of components. So it's really a hard job to do, and they did it well, and we want to thank you all, and good luck in the next cycle. At this time, we're going to install the new officers, and Roy Harris is going to do the oath of office. But I'd like to, as I call your name, I'd like you to unmute and just say present, and we'll see who is able to join us today. I'll start with Alice Damaris, our secretary. Alice, can you? Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. Kathy Swafford, our treasurer.
Here.
Lori Fritz, Region 1 director.
I'm here.
LaShonda Cobbs, Region 2 director. I wasn't sure if LaShonda could make it today. Paula Trevette, Region 3 director.
Present.
Jean Jones, Region 4 director.
Present.
And Therese Parsons, Region 5 director.
Aloha.
And then Colonel Gaussman, Karen Gaussen, our new incoming vice president, president-elect. And Don Flynn, our incoming president.
Present.
Okay, Roy, take it over and install these young people.
Great, Nancy. Thanks very much. And on behalf of the entire ANCA membership, I'd like to thank the outgoing officers of the ANCA board for their hard work, dedication, and commitment over the last 2 years. Really a job well done. And as Nancy said, much of their work, time, and effort is really invisible to the ANCA membership, but the results of their incredible work are certainly evident in the continued growth and the product that we know as the 2020 ANCA organization. So we are thrilled to welcome our new officers for the 2022 board, who will now assume their duties as outlined in the bylaws and in the duties manual for the Army Nurse Corps Association. At this time, I have the honor to ask the board to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Alice Damaris,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
to fulfill the duties of the Army Nurse Corps Association
To fulfill the duties
of the Army Nurse Corps Association
for the position, and please state your position,
for the position of president,
of Region 5 Director,
and will accept the challenge
and will accept the challenge
to perform my duties capably and faithfully
to perform my duties faithfully
and capably,
as stated in the Army Nurse Corps Association bylaws
as
stated
stated
in the Army
Nurse Corps Association bylaws
and duties manual.
and duties manual.
And now lower your hands. I now declare the new officers of the Army Nurse Corps Association installed for the 2020-2022 term. I guess we had virtual clapping. My congratulations to each of you. And President Flynn, I wish you and your board a highly successful term as your board continues to grow and take our organization to the next level. Your board is the 22nd ANCA board to take on the responsibility of leading ANCA into the future. Your sacrifice and commitment and service absolutely will make a difference. I know you will ensure that ANCA remains relevant and vibrant and make outstanding strides over the next 2 years. Godspeed and best wishes for you and your board.
Thank you, Roy. And welcome, President Don Flynn. Let me introduce Don a little bit as I pass the gavel over to you. Don's a New Yorker, and she's currently living in Utah with her husband and her 2 daughters. Don's a ROTC scholarship recipient who attended Niagara University, who I think was also Roy's alma mater. Her last assignment was Deputy Surgeon, Senior Nursing Consultant for the 807th Medical Command Deployment Support Unit in the Reserves. She's currently the Reserve Component Ambassador for the state of Utah. And Don retired in 2017 from active duty and is a senior clinical instructor in the Davis County School District and president of her Children, bless her, Home and School Associations. Don recently answered the recall to active duty and is now serving on active duty at Madigan Army Medical Center in Tacoma to assist with the COVID response. And I believe her tour there will go until April of 2021. Dawn was our first advisor on the ANCA board for the reserve components. So that was a very special role, and she brought a lot to the board table and helped us realize how important it was to have a member with extensive reserve experience on our board. She's enthusiastic, she's creative, she's an outstanding ambassador for the reserve component and for ANCA. So I introduce you to Dawn. I'm going to stop my screen sharing and let Dawn come on live.
Thank you for your kind words, Nancy. I appreciate it. Oop, there we go.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to your mentorship over the next 2 years. You have done an amazing job over the past 4 years during your 2-year tenure as vice president and your recent 2-year tenure as president during these unprecedented times. You spearheaded our organization as it had to adapt and innovate to ensure we continued our mission of connecting generations of Army nurses during a pandemic, multiple Mother Nature challenges, and expanding your expertise with new technology. I proudly present you your past president pin virtually. As I take over the gavel as the ANCA president, I certainly did not think I would be finding myself back in uniform as a retiree recall at Madigan. But I firmly believe it will give me an even better perspective in my new role with ANCA, with understanding the challenges our active component nurses face daily. I also bring a unique perspective to ANCA since I am the first reserve component president to lead ANCA. I am honored and ready to take the gavel for whatever 2020 throws our way and during the next 2 years during my tenure. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to support you or ANCA, and I'm excited hopefully for our convention in 2022 when we will hopefully see an end to our pandemic and can celebrate again together as an organization. Thank you.
So, Dawn, you going to adjourn our meeting?
I will adjourn our meeting.
Okay.